Good morning, everyone. Welcome to chessroots.com. Okay, today in this class, I'm going to show you a game which was played between Aronian and harikrishna. d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5. Okay, from black side, harikrishna played this variation so many times. So as Aronian is very strong prepared against d4. So knight c3, bishop e7, bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, castles, e3, knight e4. Okay, this was the Lasker defense became very popular after Anand winning the final game on the World Championship last year. However, harikrishna is very well prepared on this variation. He simply is trying for a dry variation, maybe for exchanging of pieces. So bishop into e7, bishop into queen into e7, rook c1. So c6, and now I think in this position Aronian played a very interesting novelty which was never played in any other game. A very different new idea of attacking the king. He played h4. See, h4 doesn't really look anything attacking for white side. There is no clear good plan, but now white is planning for a big thing. He wants to keep the king on e1, and maybe he want to push g4 and g5, trying to open spot. Usually if you keep the king on center like e1, if you do flank attacks, the best way to counter is to open up the center. Not in this position. I'm actually saying the basic theory of what we should do when your opponent is playing a flank attack. You should immediately try to open up the center such that this pawn structure and the king, uncastled king, will be exposed, and you will get a very good position in the game. So here he played knight d7, a very logical continuation. He needs to try to open c5 or even e5. Okay, now Aronian continued his plan g4. I could after g4, I think black should simply play like most like knight into c3 or something, knight df6 or even f5, but he followed according to the theory which was said by many grandmasters. He just tries to open the center such that the pawns on the king side will be very weak. So he played e5, and Aronian sees the good move and says c into d5. Now if you take c into d5, he'll simply grab the knight into d5. So he took knight into c3, rook into c3, c into d5, and g5. Now the center is not getting open. If you capture with e into d4, you can simply capture with queen into d4. You can even play rook g1 and try to attack the black king. So the planning of e5 eventually failed, and now black is having some problems on the king side. So he tried to solve them and played h5. After h5, bishop b5. One more very good interesting thing. Now he's threatening simply to take bishop into knight and knight e5, or maybe just want to close the center, or even wants to fix the center somewhat like e4 or e into d4. So here Harikrishna played e into d4, queen into d4, queen e4. See, in these positions, we often see that black is having a weak pawn on d5. So an uncastled white is black having an uncastled king. In this type of positions, uh, black should try to keep his queen alive, such that he can get some counter chances. Maybe not now, he can get it later. But the more you have the pieces, the uncastled king will be very easy to caught. Even sometimes if you play like moves like for example, for the queen into d4, you can even play knight b6, bishop e6, and you can open with f6. Should try something else like that, or even bishop f5 to e4. Sorry, bishop f5 or e4. But Harikrishna simply decides this position, and he just want to go into an end game where he can achieve something from then. So after queen e4, queen into e4, d into e4, knight d2, knight e5. Now I think white just got a good initiative. So he took knight into e4, bishop e6, and f4. In my view, f4 is really very good move, because he just want to fix this knight and bishop somewhere else rather than keeping it in the center. Like moves like knight g4 is very bad, knight g6 still bad, knight d7. We can simply play rook c7 or maybe anything. So here Harikrishna doesn't like, so he played bishop d5 and f into e5. So after bishop into e4, simply castle the king. Now in this position, if you want, just try to pause this position and analyze the position well thoroughly. This looks like white really don't have any advantage, but this position is clearly better for white. Simply one simple doubts will get that what will happen if you sit bishop d5 to e6 and exchange this rook on c8. This pawns on e5 and e3 doesn't really hurt anything for black. So how can white really get any advantage in this position? So here after your analyze, and I think you got a good move. So he just needs to prevent the activity of these both rooks, such that he can just enter on the 6th rank and can have a attack on f7, or maybe anything like he just want to shut down the activities of rook. So the move is bishop d7. After castles, bishop d5, bishop d7. Bishop d7 will also prevent a move like bishop e6. Okay, now rook f d8 and rook c7. Now he is not worried about this moving this bishop, because this bishop is controlling two important squares in the black camp, where both of the rooks have been shut down to a very limited activity. So Harikrishna played a move f5. He just want to activate this rook on this diagonal, this file. So here Aronian played one more good move with a4. First thing, a4 is good move because he can play bishop move like b5 and these pawns cannot be supported, this a pawn cannot be supported that very easily, or this, if you lose the b2 pawn, these two pawns can be held by the bishop on b5. So rook a6, rook f4, and rook f8, rook d4, bishop c6, and now the good move e6. So if you capture bishop into e6, e into d7, sorry, for bishop into d7, e into d7, rook c8, maybe that position is very bad for black, because after rook b7 he can simply come and grab all the pawns, or even he can simply maybe he can double the rooks on f7 sometime. Maybe if he capture this with rook, he can directly capture with rook. See, after e6, f e6 is forced, so bishop into e6, king h8, and now he played one more good move, again shutting down all the activities of the rook by playing bishop f7. Bishop f7 simply attacks h5, now prevents this rook not entering in white camp, stopping a key square for both king and everything for the rook on f8. So rook b6 is trying for his best, b3. Now this, see, the single bishop on f7 limits all the black pieces, simply protecting this rook movement, king on h8. So bishop f3, g6. Now he wants just to fix this king on h8. Now the king cannot move, this rook cannot move, this rook really don't have any good square. This position is totally crushed out. So after rook c6, now I think these are just a formal moves from black side till he can see a clear winning position from white. Rook c6, rook c6, bc6, e4. Now there is no way that black can stop this pawn from becoming queen. Bishop e2, e5. So in this position, Harikrishna just simply resigned in view of this e5 strong e5 pawn, which is never going to be stopped. Okay, this is a good positional game, an idea, a good novelty, and a good attacking plan from white side by Aronian. Hope you enjoyed the game. See you in the next class.